Now it's closed right now because it's 10 minutes to 3, and theoretically in these months it should open in another 10 minutes. And apparently the friars here are English and American speaking. I mean English and American speaking English. And here in this church access you can see the hint from earlier construction of that raised brick every little bit to give you a little traction. It's not too evident here, but it is evident as you come down. This is Marco di Piazza Laboratorio. Looks like it's modeling of sculpture. This perhaps an example. Something modern there. Looks like people sitting in a hot tub, looking at two people maybe embracing, but also creating a great trough between their bodies for the runoff of a little bit of water if you had it sitting in your living room or a giant Jackson Hole bedroom. This may well be the source of that other statue I saw in, curiously enough, Voltaire. I say curiously enough because the history of these two towns is that they warred against each other constantly. For what, you have to wonder. And then apparently, after the towers were built at first, but then they built the walls against others, including themselves, the people from Volterra. And then they built the towers a little bit higher because they were fighting amongst themselves here in the same little town. It isn't that big a town. And somehow we think man's going to be able to get along on a world basis? I don't think so. The sign says I cannot go in, so I will stand here. But here we have a little view of what I think must be the back of this pretty monastery. There's some like orange trees. Gives us a little idea of what the weather's like here the rest of the year. And here's some construction going on. This is the back of Santa Agostino Church. It's just fun to look at this landscape. And if we focus down from the towers on this little bit of architectural novelty, maybe. It's interesting to look how they do their plumbing here. This would be quite acceptable in the United States, of course, except for this part here, which would be unnecessary, but here they run it into the wall. But notice as we look at this wall, how there have been arches filled in before and windows filled in before from prior uses, making this building even prettier on the outside. An interesting little display of condimentos. This town is known for its saffron. I don't know how much of this entrance to what I think is a school back in there is faux, F-A-U-X, as Rick Steve says, but it's interesting looking. And down here where people are walking is some more of that Passeggiata del Muro. What I think is interesting, these small gas stations are just enough for one or two cars to pull in, grab some gas. Now this part of the wall is right opposite. In other words, on the other side of this rounded portion here is where that back area of Santa Agostino was. because I could see this from the outside. And again, notice up at the top that ring of rounded stone, designed I think to be decorative, perhaps not. Perhaps it had a military function, and these holes along the side, I'm guessing, were to give a good viewpoint of shooting of something alongside the wall. It seems strange to me that you would build a wall with a decorative line in it unless it serves some military function. But the walls become prettier for the plants that are growing in it. I don't know if this means that San Gimignano's altitude is 332 meters. But it looks like that wall once held better decoration than that. This part of the walkway looks like it's developed a little bit more than the part I was on earlier. It is located more at the touristy end of the town. Oh, notice these archways. I'm going to zoom up to a city way up on that hill. It's interesting to wonder what kind of residency is behind this wall. It looks like a church. And maybe it's, I don't know. Certainly looks like a church. Maybe this is the other end of San Agostino. Certainly is. My guess is that this is the apse. And this is that first green patch that I videoed down when the sun was shining. Don't know if this is original stained glass. It's pretty rough in the sense the pieces are large. Pretty walkway. Again, that continues around the wall. The first wall, I think this is. This should be the entrance to Porto San Matteo. I mean, it is the entrance, Porto San Matteo.